Everyone, I'm Steve Lloyd with the Yacht Rigger and Catamaran Brokerage. Today we are down in Venice, Florida, and we're going to take you on a really detailed walkthrough on this beautiful 2016 Leopard 51 Power Cat. So you can see from here, guys, that this boat effectively has three levels. There's the hull areas down below with the cabins and bathrooms, and then you have the saloon and cockpits on the mid-level, and then the upper level is the awesome flybridge that I can't wait to show you. So we have two boarding locations right here. One is a gate. If the tide was a little lower, we would step on right there. But in this case, we can step on right here. So we're gonna start outside. As you can see, this is a huge, spacious cockpit, massive table. I think you could easily sit 10 people around it, and add additional seating over on this side. There is a ton of storage on this boat. So let's dive into the cockpit storage and just show you what we got going on here. First of all, right here, this on the starboard side is the propane storage locker. So plenty of space for two good sized propane tanks and easy to access for when you need to change those out. Make our way back here real quick. I like to call this the garage. It is a massive aft storage area. So you can see in here, there's just tons and tons of room. You can organize this how you want. This particular owner has scuba tanks back here, lots of cleaning supplies. Also down in the back here, right back there, it's a little tough to show on the camera, but there's access to the rudder and the autopilot controls. Spare 5-gallon buckets, rags, etc. Tons and tons of room. And we'll make our way over to the port side where we have the exact same compartment, but again, we're gonna show you guys everything here. This is another massive storage locker. And in here you can see the owner has all kinds of mechanical stuff for oil changes, shop vacs, and also back in here is access to the hydraulic controls for this tender lift platform. So right over here we have a stern shower. So this is where you would obviously stand after climbing out from a swim or dive session and shower yourself off. And while we're talking about that, this incredible dive ladder means pretty much anyone you have on board is going to be able to climb up out of this thing after a swim. It's just awesome. So this 51 PC does come with this hydraulic platform, as we mentioned, and this is just a great, really convenient way to get your tender up and down in the water, back out of the water. And as you can see, you can have a really large tender we'll put that info in the listing, but this is a tender you could easily get 5 or 6 people into and go out scuba diving. So another great feature that Leopard has is this backrest that lets you face into the cockpit with all your friends, or if you're underway or you want to look aft, you just tilt this and then you can chill looking aft while motoring or just watching the sunset. Under here is some additional storage. What is on this? Here we have pneumatic lifts, but there is a life raft in here, and 2 of the lithium house bank batteries are stored back in there as well as the sub for the sound system. So right here we have the fusion control for the sound system. There are speakers in the cockpit and the sub right there under the seat. There are also lights here in the cockpit. Right here we have a grill in a really nice location. The wind is gonna blow the smoke away from the cockpit, but you can stand here and cook and be socializing with your friends. And last but not least, we have additional storage right here for the house battery bank that is lithium on this boat. So we have in total these 4 batteries here, as well as the 2 in that aft storage. And right here we have one last little cute cubby storage under the stairs. So here we are in the forward cockpit. There's seating for at least 6. You could probably cram 8 people in here. And again, more storage. Right here we have a locker that is dock lines and spare lines and a fire extinguisher. Over here we have lift up tables. This one gives you access to a locker under here that lets you service the generator, which is awesome. Such a big thing, you know, serviceability. When you're figuring out which boat to buy, working on the systems is a big part of it. We also have another fusion over here for this forward zone, controlling the sound system. Another very important safety feature in this cockpit is there is massive drainage down here. So if you're in a situation where you do take a big wave over the bow and this cockpit just gets filled up with water, there is a massive drain right here. So no worries there. One other cool little feature I just noticed, and it's just the little things, these drink holders right here. Having a place to put your drink when you're at sea is just great. So there's space for 4 drinks in this forward cockpit. So leaving this forward cockpit, there is a hatch I can pull closed here that is currently latched, but this hatch right here would obviously add rain and sun protection when you're chilling back here. It also gives good airflow. And then you walk forward onto this massive bow area. You could do yoga, you could work out up here. It's amazing. It's just, you know, you could almost jog in circles up here. It's amazing. So really like the fact that there are 2 sets of bow cleats on these Leopards. So you can tie, when you're side tied, you can tie a spring aft or a bow line from the aft cleat, and then this forward cleat can also be cross control. So really nice feature that it's a small thing, but it really makes a big difference when docking. So we have these comfy bow seats up here if you want to chill and watch some dolphins. And then moving aft, the first of these 2 lockers, this is where the generator is. And remember that hatch I talked about for access in this forward cockpit? That lets you access the back of the generator. And then for servicing, you can remove obviously this top panel and the side panels with a few screws. So it's really easy to do your oil changes, work on the water pump, change out an impeller, and just generally having good access to a generator is just a huge thing. There's nice non-skid plates in here for when you're stepping in and out of the locker. Should you get some oil, something like that spill, you won't slip and fall. And then of course there's just tons and tons of additional storage for your fenders when you're at sea and all that kind of stuff, toys. Over on the starboard side, we have this big locker, and in here, the primary feature is the water tanks. We'll confirm this in the listing, but I believe this is 200 gallons of water, 2 100-gallon tanks. And again, just non-skid plates for stepping in and out of here, easy access to all the features on these water tanks, and just more space for fenders and big stuff. This starboard forward hatch right here is the only hatch on the boat that you need to access from the outside. This is sometimes used as a crew cabin, but in this case, the owners converted it to a scuba locker. So in here we have wetsuits hanging, BCs, there's a rinse area, great space to keep all your scuba stuff, masks, snorkels, weight belts. So from a practicality standpoint, some things I love about this boat's decks area is we have a solid rail right here. Really comforting when you're moving around in bigger seas. And of course we have 2 forward cleats, a midships cleat, and the stern cleat back there, so you're not gonna have a problem tying up at the dock. Lastly, I can just walk down this side deck super easily, no obstructions. I'm not moving around anything. Good handrails either side, and I can just make my way back to the cockpit safely. And now we can make our way into the saloon and start the inside part of this tour. I know I keep talking about cleats, but I really think this is important on a cruising boat. I said earlier that there's 4 cleats on the side. There's actually 5. There's another big one right down here on the transom, which I love because it allows you to cross tie the dock. With a catamaran, you can position the boat and hold it really securely with those long lines with long, deep angles. So I love that feature. Another quick small detail here is the shore power connection. 2 30 amp shore power cords, not 150, not 250s, 230s, which effectively means you can actually split a single 50 to plug into this boat. So welcome to the saloon area, and specifically the galley on this Leopard 51. I'm going to go through some of the storage and features real quick. You can see there's a lot of counter space, 2 levels here. More counter space over here, space for appliances in the back. Trash can access is right here through this drop down or this pull out. Nice size trash can too. Double sink, storage under the sink, not just a big cavern, you have shelves. There is some electrical access back there. Another cabinet, deep drawer for pots and pans. This will give you some idea. This is awesome. Wonderful deep storage. Plenty of room for glasses and cups. More storage in the galley is over on this side. And then right here we have a fridge freezer, and there is additional fridge and freezer space. There's actually some killer freezer space upstairs that we'll show you in a little bit. Spice rack, fairly obvious. This is a somewhat stealthy, secret, large storage space. This lifts up, and this storage space actually goes all the way back underneath this counter. So you could store all kinds of stuff back in there. I love square seating on the boat. It's so great because you can sit with your back up against something. Multiple people can sit here. The table leaves fold out, so you have a full-size dinner table, or for easy access during the day, you just fold it up and make it a little smaller. This table does also drop down, and this whole area turns into a day bed, which I love for on passage, so you're not too far from everyone, you're not down the hulls. Just another great addition. Something else to note in this boat is just standing here looking around, the visibility forward is amazing. And if you lift up these blinds, of course, you have full 360-degree views. So really nice, light and airy feeling. And of course, when you're on the hook somewhere where it's cooler, you can open that front door, open this back door, and get an amazing breeze flowing through the boat. And not only does the back door open, but the back door slides double over, so this opening is twice as wide. So we do have, again, really nice lighting in here, just like we have in the cockpit, that's dimmable, and very importantly, 3 fans to get really good air circulation around here. So you're running the AC, but you're also pushing the cold air around to get a nice and even temperature. Up here we have the nav desk or secondary helm. So you do have throttle controls here for the engines, autopilot control, a secondary MFD. So in bad weather, you can effectively come down in here and navigate in the comfort of the interior of the boat, whether it's really hot or really cold, obviously, with a nice comfortable seat. There is storage in here. Not huge, but plenty for a nav desk. Storage off to the side here in these drop downs. The electronics, and there is a start stop for the engines, a control down here, so you can effectively operate the boat from right down here. Some ducting and a lot of the instrument back end stuff, which is really, again, just having access is super important. So storage in the saloon, there's all kinds of storage. There's space under that seat right here, storage space under these seats right here. Same for this one. There's an air conditioner. The main saloon air conditioner is under this one, and then that side over there is also storage. In the floors, we have more storage right here, obviously nice and dry. There's towels and linens in there. And then in the galley right here, we have another storage area. Let's talk electrical for a second. The main AC and DC panels are right here. The water maker control panels right here. We'll show you where that water maker is in a little bit. There's some air conditioning controls, DC side, AC side, and some tank monitors right there. The thing I love is this access right here. It may seem a little tight, but I promise you, a grown man can climb all the way back in there to work on stuff, whether it's the instruments that are right here on the back of this panel, or accessing wiring that runs elsewhere, or accessing plumbing that runs elsewhere. Just another nice big space that you actually can work in, as opposed to having to reach an arm in or a tool. So making my way down to the starboard side, the owner's side. This is an owner's version Leopard 51. We notice some beautiful accent lighting that's actually throughout this saloon area and this whole owner's suite. There's some really, really nice accent lighting. Something else that's right here, in easy access, super important, a manual bilge pump. You never want to use one of these, but I promise you when you're scared, they're pretty efficient. So we're down here in this massive owner's suite. Follow me down. I am all the way up here in the head. Right here, we have this massive shower. I'm not gigantic. I'm not 6'3" or anything like that, but I got plenty of headroom in here. So this is just incredible. There's good storage in here actually, which is a nice feature. There's place to actually put your shampoo and your soaps. It's not like you're trying to wedge it on some tiny shelf. There's a really nice, secure storage shelf over here. And the shower head itself is on a nice, secure mounting location. I love that. Underneath the sink, tons of storage. 2 big shelves. Behind the sink, plenty of room for all your toiletries. Nice deep sink. You're not fighting with some kind of bowl sink that's mounted on top. You have an actual sink. You can wash your face in that thing. Hatch for light, and there's a port light behind the blind right there. So right here we have a washer dryer. It's a beautiful install. Somebody did a really good job here. These are cabinets that open up. They open up just so that you can actually remove the device if you ever needed to, but you don't need to open them to operate it. Down here, some shelves and dry storage. So I'm going to show you access right here for some more of the plumbing. This is one of the black water tanks, but you can see you have really easy access to valves, hoses, the top of the tank. Maybe a little difficult, but I can actually reach right up in here. My hands fit easily, and there's all kinds of space around it. So I can walk upright right out of this, and we'll start right here. Access, guys. Access is everything. So right here we have fuel tanks. So we just have really easy access to be able to reach things like the strainer, the pumps, the through hulls. It's not a very deep reach. You don't have to have crazy long arms, and you're not climbing into some crazy contorted position. And there's just easy access all around to, again, pump guard strainers here, wiring. Something we can hear, I'm not sure if you will hear it on the video, there's a ticking sound coming from this bilge, and that is the ultrasonic hull cleaning system that the owner tells me works great. And I'm actually very curious about these systems and want to learn more, but they say it has definitely reduced the amount of cleanings that they have to do. Right here, some more access and exploration. Amazing, huge, wide open, access to ducting, access to plumbing, overboard plumbing, freshwater plumbing, just wide open and easy, well lit. More access. This is the air conditioner for this hull. Clean air filters, check out the system, service it, make sure it's all good. So you can see wide open. This is really, really easy. If you ever had to replace this unit, you know, these things happen. It's not a major job. You're removing one piece of cabinetry and you're right there. So love it. Really, really cool. So we showed you under the forward locker there, that was access to the front of the tank and that strainer and pump. Right here we have further access to the tank itself, but most importantly there's a massive bilge pump down in here with 2 float switches. I would bet that the one has a high water alarm on it and the other one is just to make the pump kick on and off. More fuel tank access, access to your valves on the fuel tanks, another through hull with easy access, and a strainer that I can reach easily again. This locker, the most aft one in the starboard side, is just dry storage. And it's pretty huge. You could definitely fit a lot in here. This owner has tools in there. I think I would love to have all my tools right there in my bedroom. It's amazing. Not sure about if my wife would like that. Okay. Again, talking storage, still on the owner's side, starboard side. Big upper shelf here. You can put some totes up here. I think a suitcase or two would actually fit up in this space too. And then we have this cabinet that's just full of shelves. And this one, get that matched, is a hanging space. Make my way aft here. We have desktop storage right here in this vanity. So for vanity type items, 2 separate ones. And this is every bit of 6 feet wide. More storage here, and it latches securely. So when you're underway, drawers right here. I know some owners actually end up installing drawers in this entire underneath section too, so that is an option. As you make your way aft, some more hanging space right here. And this side is all shelves. Tons of top shelf storage over here, wide open. More drawers. 1, 2, 3, 4 nice big drawers. So right here we have the privacy pocket door that closes off this hull completely for privacy in the owner's suite. Behind here we have some more electrical. Again, beautiful wide open access, and there's some battery switches down in here, but tons and tons of room to work. We're gonna open this one. I have no idea actually what's behind this. Access to the refrigerator. Again, awesome. Really good access. I can touch the whole side. Oh, and I could technically climb right up in here and work on stuff from this side too. There's definitely space for me to climb in there and stand. So we are now in the master cabin on the starboard side aft. You can see there's beautiful lighting from that port light back there. There's another hatch above the bunk. There's another port light off to the side here. Really big spacious shelves for storage. So from your perspective right now, you can see what it's like to wake up in the morning on your Leopard 51 PC and look around and see the beautiful light and all the shelving. 2 fans up in the corner so you can have dual air access, 1 for each person. Great stuff. And then we do have this huge hanging cabinet right here with some more shelf space down below. Now there is no storage space below this bunk because what we have under here is the engine. Gotta love that push button access. That's amazing. So we have good lighting in here, good access. I personally kind of like having the engines under the bunks here because it means I can work on and service my engines in the air conditioning in a controlled environment. I'm not having to climb down through some hatch and sit in a 110-degree hot box while I work on it. Of course, there is a downside. You have an engine running under a bunk, but I think it's a good trade-off. So these are Yanmar 370 horsepower diesels. Perfect perimeter access. There is a hatch that gets removed from the front of the bunk here that gives you access to the front end of the engine. Dual fuel filters, so if underway you have any issues, you can switch over to the other fuel filter and then change out the filter while you're underway and not have to stop. There are high output alternators on this engine, so you can charge the batteries a lot faster than the stock alternators would. And of course, really good soundproofing and a fire suppression system in this locker to keep you safe at sea. So now we're going to show you what it's like to go from the starboard side up and over to the port side. I'm going to make my way forward.
Yeah.
Welcome to the port bow cabin, the guest cabin. Very comfy bed, I can vouch for. And as you can see, beautiful view out this window right here. And plenty of room for storage for my electronics, some clothing storage on these nice shelves right here. A scuba compressor for filling dive tanks. So this could be used as a cabin for a child or a small person, but in this case we have Scuba compressor up there. Those are the spare mattress pads for when you drop down the table up in the saloon. Those would fill that space. There is additional storage in here with some shelves, but super easy access to a nice dry forward storage cabin. So in this case, the owner has an awesome setup where he has super long hoses that he runs through from the aft cockpit where the scuba tanks are stored all the way to this compressor. So he doesn't have to carry the tanks forward. He just runs hoses to the compressor, fires the compressor up in here. It's way forward in the port bow. It's not very loud. You don't have to really listen to it, and your tanks get filled all the way back there where they live. So a cool feature for a guest cabin is that this is a partial walk around. You actually have semi walk around access on this forward bunk right here. Something else we have, storage locker with hanging space and shelf space. Underneath this bunk, we have one of the most important features on a cruising boat, the water maker. Spectral water maker right here, making beautiful fresh water. And I keep saying this, but the fact that you can climb down into this locker and sit down in there, you could flip this mattress over, get down in there, and change out your strainers easily. You could reach over and just grab them from there, but if you've got a bad back or something, you can climb right in there and service this entire system really easily. Just some more storage space. 2 big drawers. Getting down to the floors. Wide open access so you can keep the bilges clean and access hoses. Very similar to the other side. We have the fuel tanks, through hulls, access to strainers, the sonic hull cleaning system. Right here we have bilge or fuel tank access. More bilge and fuel pump access, I believe. And I would have to be double checked, but I think this might be a fuel transfer system or the fuel filter for the generator. So here we are still in the port forward cabin. As you can see, there is a door here, so you have complete privacy to your ensuite head that has a completely separate shower. Again, I can close the door and I can turn around in here with elbows up so I could literally wash my hair without whacking my funny bone. Toilet separate. Again, not a wet head, nice deep sink. Storage space behind the cabinet right here. And over here we showed you in the other head, this is the same type of access to the black water tank and plumbing. It's just 2 screws and this whole door hinges open and you have really nice, easy access to work on any systems if need be. And we'll make our way to the port aft cabin. We'll start off right here. Under this floorboard, another big dry storage locker. Shelf off to the one side that you can sit down to put shoes on or something like that. Same situation here, we can lift up the bunk, but that's just going to show you the engine again, but it's the same as the starboard side, so we're not going to do that. And same shelving that we have off to the side here for clothing and whatnot storage, and the same storage cabinet, which we can show you. Plenty of hanging space and shelf space. There is an access port in the back of that I don't have the tools to take off. Looks really simple. My guess is, again, that's just a nice little cabinet, that access point you can pull off and access possibly some plumbing or electrical that's behind there. Here on the starboard inboard side, and this is where a lot of the other electrical components are, the power system of this boat. So if you remember, the batteries are up in the cockpit, and that is just through this wall over here, so really pretty close. And so the main DC power system and inverter is right here. A Victron Quattro 12 volt, 5000 watt with 220 amps of charging power inverter, and then the MPPT, the charge controllers for the solar system are right down in here. It's a little hard to see them, but I can put my hand on them. They're right there. So the solar on this boat is, of course, charging a lot of the lithium batteries along with the generator. So again, we are down on the port side. There's a cabin aft and a cabin forward, and on the starboard side, we just have the owner's suite, which is that one aft cabin and the massive head and storage forward. On a charter version of this boat, it would be a mirror image of this port side over on the starboard side. So you're still getting a pretty good idea of what that would look like, with the addition, of course, of seeing what the owner's suite looks like. Make our way back up to the saloon. So from here, we are going to exit out into the aft cockpit and make our way upstairs to the flybridge. Right here we do have an EPIRB for safety, very important. Great staircase with really secure handholds the whole way up, so when you're at sea, you're not worried about falling down. This right here is my favorite feature on this boat. This upper cockpit flybridge area is just incredible. 360-degree views, wide open space, plenty of seating. There's refrigeration, there's fresh water. You have a living space up here. This would be, I think, my man cave. I would want to live up here all the time. So like I said, it's wide open. We have plenty of seating. Helm seat here that 2 or 3 or 4 people could really sit at. And this is another one of those backrests that can flop forward, so multiple people can sit around this seating saloon upper area right here. Then we make our way aft, and we have on this boat, this is a freezer or a cooler. But you can freeze food in this for weeks, and it is just ginormous. Really, really cool feature. So again, solid handrails all around here. This seat back can be like this, so you can sit looking aft or facing forwards. I love that. Tons of shade, of course. More seating up here, cup holders. So we have a mini kitchen up here. The only thing we don't have is cooking ability, but we do have refrigeration and an ice maker, hot and cold water, a storage cabinet, and beautiful countertop access for your snacks. We do have lights and speakers up here. Making my way forward, this is the lounge area. Wonderful cushion space. When you're at sea or on anchor, you can chill out here, catch some rays. Just a wonderful chill out spot. The captain's chair. So from here we have our MFD and all of our instruments, fuel gauges, throttles, steering wheel of course, VHF, FLIR. There is a FLIR camera on this boat. It's a very comfortable seating area with great views. I can see both bows and I can almost see the stern back there. So for parking this boat, I think it's really, really good to have almost 360-degree views if you can. And there is another sub right here. Speaking of underneath here, access for all the instrumentation. Maybe a little difficult because you'd have to lay down, but you can definitely get in through these nice big hatches and have really good access to all these systems back here. So really, really helpful for anyone who ever has to work on it, whether it's you or a contractor. We're back to storage. So underneath this seat here, we have some life vests, more life vests. I'm gonna check back here. This is like exploring. More life vests. Basically, there is storage under all these seats, and I know there is some storage up front right here. Under here. Space for everything. One last cool and important feature. Right back here, we do have a hookup for a freshwater washdown, so you can plug your hose in right here and hose this whole area down. Of course, we do have windshields right here. This panel section comes down, so if you are out here in not the best weather and you still want to be upstairs, you can zip these down and not be getting soaked. So this boat has 6 350-watt solar panels, as well as a Starlink and the FLIR camera right here that I talked about earlier. So this is a good sized solar bank. It's definitely going to make a pretty significant difference when you're on anchor to keep those batteries charged up so that you're not having to run the generator nearly as much as you otherwise would. Thank you guys for watching this video. We know we went into quite a lot of the detail, but what we're trying to do here is help you make the most informed decision possible when it comes to possibly buying a Leopard 51 power cat. We will be doing more content like this, more walkthroughs, more details. So if you guys enjoyed this, please feel free to subscribe and follow us on the On Deck channel. If you're interested in this particular boat, please feel free to reach out to Michelle or myself at Catamaran Brokerage, and we'll gladly give you more information. I realize there's probably some stuff we may have missed out, but all the details will be in the listing, and we will post the link in the video description.